Hello there. It's Tuesday, November 18th. I'm here with Isabelle McMahon, who was the production coordinator of the Jazz Parade for Democracy that happened in Charlottesville on the downtown mall on November 1st of 2025. It's now been a couple weeks. So, Isabelle, you've had some time to process everything that happened that day and your thoughts since then, and I'll just leave it open-ended at that.
And I'm still feeling a little bit exhilarated by the emotion that came out of the parade. I try to reflect on why it was such a success, because to be honest, the success was beyond my own expectation. And I think there are several things that came into play. One of the things is that while I'm not an expert in performance art by any stretch of imagination, I actually have no experience. I did have some experience organizing, research project in Africa, which actually ended up being a useful skill set. And I used that to plan, and also made sure that every group that worked with us had clear responsibilities. And I let them have those responsibilities and go on with it. And my most important job was just to coordinate and that make sure everyone knew when to play their part. So I think by giving people their responsibility, they became more creative on how to come up with something that would be meaningful. They also knew very well what was the general framework and scenario and what we had planned for this event, what was the logic, what was our goals, what were our objectives. So that really helped. And that came out very well. What was very interesting too is that each group didn't necessarily know what the other ones would be doing. It was basically only two of us who knew the entire scope and all the detail of these events. So for some members, they were also surprised to see, the other part, as they didn't know what the choreography would be, or they didn't know what the acting part would be, or they didn't know what the music could be. So in that sense, I think it was very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Go
Let
ahead.
me jump in just for people who maybe haven't read the article yet or just seeing this on social media. In terms of the success, we had 750 people there, over 100 people involved in your production, 45 musicians and 30 actors and 30 singers from two different choirs. So when you're talking about the groups, you're talking about John Dirth and the musicians and the two choirs and the actors.
And the person who worked on the choreography got
Right.
the people to practice it. But the success for me is just really beyond the number of people. It's also the joy that people had being in it. We had, actors, singers, etc., but we had a lot of followers, and by the end of the parade, you could not differentiate between the people who were actors and the followers who got into the parade and participated in an active manner. And that was not a given. We didn't know whether they would just feel like, okay, I'm part of this now, but it did work out. It's like in French, you say the mayonnaise took.
Yeah, people were just exuberant and just
Mhm.
thought it was fun and cool that we pulled it off. You and
Mhm.
Nancy. Nancy was the creative director, the woman who wrote the script. And when Isabel said two people knew everything, it was her and Nancy. It was a great event. Most of the article that is going to appear in Grassroots Connector, you wrote the skeleton of that,
Mhm.
and it was a recipe for how other groups, people in other cities could do something similar, creative, and not to be afraid of it. But you didn't put much of yourself in that article. And how did you come to working with Indivisible, and what's your backstory?
So I'm French. I came to the US about 20 years ago and became a citizen about 10 years ago. And I worked in international development, and I was part of the people that lost their job because of the Trump regime. So that probably fueled my desire to be part of the people who would make sure that he does not stay in power and that we get back to what America used to be. So for me as a non-American citizen originally, I choose to become an American citizen. So I'm not American by birth. It's really a choice. And I choose this country for the value for which it stands. And putting those values, at risk is just like making me think, what am I doing here? So yeah, it matters.
Hmm. Yeah, I've never heard you say that before. I'm choking up a little bit too. You've said in other situations, as someone who chose America, you're feeling the pressure to stand up and be brave and
Exactly.
not to step back and let someone else do it or hope that it just passes on its own.
Yeah, I really think it's important for us to be out there and not to show any type of fear. Because when you start showing that you're afraid, they're winning. If you start, wearing masks because you don't want to be seen, blurring faces, those act to me are showing some level of fear that you don't want to have. What's going to make us strong is the numbers. If we are all out there, we are protecting each other by the numbers.
I've told people before that my father and all my uncles served in the military during World War II, and I feel like I'm more patriotic now than I've
Mhm.
ever been. All this bad stuff under Trump and the whole MAGA movement
Mhm.
has just made me more in touch and more thoughtful about American values and sacrifices that other
Mhm.
generations have made. It's been an interesting few years.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you want to share with people, how other people in other cities might want to do something like this, or people in Charlottesville understand what went into this?
Yeah, I just really want people to not be afraid of doing it. They might be very successful or not as successful, but you can do all kind of performance art that are going to bring more meaning because people will remember, they'll have the image in their head. If you have a strong image, you might get people attention and they'll remember. So, just like the importance, the power of the image and of performance art to show what you think and your value.
And also a way of reaching other people. Some
Yeah.
people are not tuned in politically, particularly, and you say we're going to have a protest rally, and that may not mean so much to them. But when they're just on the downtown mall and
Mhm.
a 40-piece brass band comes and people are holding signs, tombstones in our case,
Yeah, yeah,
about what the issues are that we care about, that reaches people in a different emotional way and maybe reaches a different group of people as well.
yeah, I agree.
Well, it was a huge success. You and Nancy, I don't know, between the two of you, hundreds of hours, easy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One of the people on one of the other videos said this will be one of the things that she's proudest of when she's on her deathbed looking back. It resonated so strongly. And thank you for doing just all the heart that you put into it.
Thank you. You're
Okay,
welcome.
take it easy. I'm signing off.
Okay, bye.